This is Super Yacht News with Sisman.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. So we'll get right into it. Quite a few stories tonight. First one is a bit of a weird one. Motor Yacht Solaris. I'm sure you'll know Motor Yacht Solaris belongs to Roman Abramovich. It's a $600 million yacht. It's been in Turkey since March. Quite unceremoniously left Barcelona after a refit when the sanctions first kicked off. Left Barcelona the day before Roman Abramovich was sanctioned in the UK. Anyway, the vessel's been in Bodrum in Turkey pretty much since March. Moved around a little bit, but not much. The AIS destination on AIS today was put in as Anchorage, Alaska. So yeah, it's a good few thousand miles from Bodrum in Turkey to Anchorage, Alaska. Very unlikely that is actually where it's going. It's as far as I can tell, the vessel is at anchor in Bodrum. So I'm thinking maybe some newbie, some greenhorn was told to go to anchor, and he thought they meant Anchorage in Alaska. I don't know, but that's a bit of a weird one. I'll keep watching and we'll see what happens. So on to the next story now. Motor Yacht Amadea. We've been tracking Motor Yacht Amadea for how long now? A couple of months since she left the Caribbean and headed down to Fiji. Obviously now under a US flag with a crew selected by the US government to bring it back to the UK, to the US even. The vessel was in Honolulu. Anyway, the vessel left on early hours of the 20th of June. And the vessel is now, I would say, based on its location and based on its speed, it's probably about 24 hours or so from arriving in San Diego. Now, I can't be certain it's going to San Diego. I've had a couple of sources tell me that they think it's going to San Diego, and based on what you can see here on the AIS, it looks like it's going to San Diego, doesn't it? It's going in a straight line. So it looks like it's going to arrive there tomorrow. So if you live in San Diego, you can get down to the marina there and hopefully you'll see it. One of the interesting things about this vessel is since it left Fiji, by the time it gets to San Diego, the vessel will have traveled through, I think, 5 time zones. And the biggest one being, it's like time travel. It went from plus 12 hours in Fiji to minus 11 hours as it crossed over the international date line. And each time, and when you're heading east on a vessel, when you go through a time zone, you effectively lose an hour's sleep every night. So generally what a vessel will do is when they do a time change, just like a regular time change when you have a seasonal time change, 200 hours, clock goes back an hour or forward an hour depending on which way you're going. This particular vessel is going east, so it's heading in the wrong direction, if you like, because it's losing an hour each time. And one of the downsides to that is, like I said, the crew losing that hour's sleep. So I was on a vessel a few years ago and I suggested to the captain, hey, why don't you do the time change in the daytime? So at 1400 hours, we put the clock forward an hour and then nobody loses any sleep. So they did it the first day, and then the captain was upset because he had a nap in the afternoon and it interfered with his nap. So the next time change we did, he put it back to nighttime. So everybody lost an hour's sleep because the captain didn't want to interrupt with his nap. So yeah, nice story, eh? But yeah, that's one of the downsides. The great thing is when you go the other direction, you gain an extra hour's sleep every time you go through a time zone. So it's one of those things. Like I said, the vessel's been doing about 12 to 14 knots the whole way across. The distance she's traveled from Fiji to Honolulu, 3,162 miles, which is 2,747 nautical miles, or 5,090 kilometers. That was from Fiji to Honolulu. Now she's traveling from Honolulu to San Diego, I think, and that's 2,526 miles, or 2,195 nautical miles, or 4,064 kilometers. That's a total distance of 5,688 miles, or 4,942 nautical miles, or 9,152 kilometers. So that's a good old trip, isn't it? And that vessel, remember, take away all of the politics and everything. That vessel's done that trip twice now. So it did Manzanillo to Fiji. Now it's doing Fiji to San Diego. So it's impressive operating by that vessel. Anyway, we'll move on to the next story. In the last video, I talked about motor yacht Axioma in Gibraltar being the Supreme Court said that the vessel will be sold because of the forfeiture. Now, after that video went live, the channel was inundated with, probably a lot of them were bots, a lot of comments about the vessel being stolen. The same when the Amadea video went out. You probably won't seen all of them because I've managed to get rid of a lot of them because most of them are just hating on the West. I don't know who the West is that apparently is stealing all these boats. Well, I want to put that straight because I know that it's not going to stop those comments, but I just want to point out that the reason why Axioma was forfeited was because the owner, Mr. Pompiansky, when that loan happened, he was the guarantor of that loan, right? And the loan was given to the company that was registered in the British Virgin Islands, which was owned by another company, which he was the owner of. Now, 5 days before he was sanctioned, he transferred the shares of that company to somebody else. And in doing so, he forfeited that loan because he was in breach of his loan because he transferred the shares of the company to somebody else whilst he still had a loan out against that vessel. And that's the reason why the vessel was seized, and that's why he's lost the vessel. So that really, I mean, it is related to the sanctions, but it's not because of the sanctions. The sanctions came after he did that. So he was already in breach of his loan. And obviously all of the sanctions obviously added to the fact that he wouldn't be able to repay, but that was the cause of it. So I just wanted to clear that up. Also, a lot of comments about court stealing, blah, 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 blah. This is a normal procedure, right? So before sanctions, if a vessel went into a port and say it filled up with fuel, or it went into a shipyard and had some work done on it, let's say it owes 3 million for the work on the shipyard, or it owes $500,000 for fuel. And if it doesn't pay that fee, and the people who are owed the money feel like they're going to flee, they go to court, they get a court order, the court issues a warrant of arrest or arrest warrant against that vessel, and then the police turn up and they say the vessel's been arrested, you can't leave. That's a normal procedure, regardless of whether the sanctions thing is going on. So that's normal. So the court getting involved is normal. It's just like if you buy a car on hire purchase and you don't make the payments, the company you bought the car from will go to court and then they will repossess your car. All right, so we'll move on to the next story now. So in the last video, again, we talked about Galaxy of Happiness. Now, we had a mystery, right? So the vessel was seemingly, according to AIS, being towed by a tug off the island of Crete, back and forth, very strange procedure there. And at the same time, I had a subscriber contact me and say, hey, that vessel is not in that location. It's 300 nautical miles north in a place called Theologos. Now, there was quite a few theories in the comments about spoofing AIS. I think I even mentioned that possibility. What you don't know is, or what some people did know actually, but there are actually, unbelievably, that vessel that looks like a Klingon bird of prey, there are actually 2 of those vessels. Same color, same design, almost identical. Now, not only are they almost identical, but their names are almost identical. One of them is called Galaxy of Happiness, and the other one is called simply Galaxy. Now, the subscriber that contacted me saying that he was looking right at that vessel, he was actually looking at Motor Yacht Galaxy. And that was the vessel that was 300 nautical miles north. And I was able to find it on AIS as well in that location. The other vessel, Galaxy of Happiness, was, it seems, being towed back and forth off the island of Crete. However, so that's solved, right? That mystery is solved. However, the other mystery is what is going on with this vessel being towed back and forth. And now it's gone to Turkey. I think it's called Antalya. I'll put it on the screen. Sorry if I butchered that if you live there. The vessel is now moored in that location, but not until it did more of the back and forth thing with the tugboat. So it's actually, now it's moored in there, just updated, just before I went live here actually, it just updated that it was gone from, the AIS status was changed from restricted maneuverability to moored in that location, as you can see on the screen here. So the reasons for the back and forth thing, I'm not quite sure. Possibly they were being towed, there was an issue with payment. The tugboat said, well, we're just going to hang out here until payment goes through. That's one possibility. Another possibility is the vessel, the tug rescued the boat. They couldn't figure out where they were going to go, so they had to wait. Now, why back and forth? Why not just stop and sit at anchor? Well, if the weather is bad and sitting at anchor for a vessel out at sea is not a good thing, so better to sail around. So anyway, the vessel's made it to Turkey now, which is the safe haven, isn't it? Because like I said, the owner is under sanctions now, although I believe he's only under sanctions in the US and not in the EU, but he's probably preempting the fact that it may follow quite soon. Okay, one other thing, if you're watching this video and you are a crew member who was on the sailing schooner Eleonora in Tarragona, or if you know anybody who works on that vessel, if you know any way for me to be able to get in touch with them, please get in touch with me. The vessel is still sitting on the bottom of the marina, hasn't moved yet. There's an awful lot of ambulances and officials hanging around, but no action at all. So I'd love to be able to talk to somebody about that. So if you know anybody, please get in touch. If you've got any information about any of the stories or any other stories, you can get me in the normal way through the About page of YouTube, through Facebook Messenger, or on Instagram. Please be sure to like this video. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the bell for future notifications. Okay, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.